Welcome back to the Why on the Buy podcast, everybody. My name's Jeff Bajorek, and it's Monday. That means I'm going to come at you with something we call a Monday Musing here on the show. Just a thought to get you started on your Monday morning. Hopefully change the way you think and change the way you act this week as a professional salesperson. Now, a few weeks ago, my esteemed co-host, partner, and colleague in this podcast, Christie Walters, she had a Monday Musing that said, quantity over quality. Get out of your own way. Do the things that you need to do. Create some momentum. Get that flywheel swinging so you can start to really get more out of your efforts. And I applaud her for that. I know that that advice came from the heart, and I know it to be true myself in terms of making sure I can get myself started. Now, I'm going to play the foil to that because it's fun. But Christie's Monday Musing came in February. February was about preparation. Right? March is about prospecting. And I'm going to flip that idea on its head, and I'm going to talk to you today about quality over quantity. You're prospecting. You've got 100,000 dials to make. That's what it feels like anyway. It's probably close to 100. So many of you have these dial targets that you need to hit. If you're in an inside sales department, the way recent guest Derek Williams pointed out on his show, that more and more of these sales teams are being brought in-house because of the efficiency that's there. Well, what that efficiency is driving is a metric that is measurable. Peter Drucker always said that you manage what you can measure. Well, I think that's getting a little over-distilled. I think that there are too many team leaders and sales managers out there who are saying make X amount of dials a day. If that's 100, then we're going to get 10 people interested and maybe one or two of them will close. Now, that math is fairly repeatable. I'm not going to say it doesn't work. Clearly it does. But who wants to show up every day and make 100 dials? And the problem with that too is that when you show up and make 100 dials, you're focused on getting through those dials instead of actually recognizing the other person on the other end of the phone. And that's where the whole quantity over quality thing takes over. This is what I want you to think about and put into practice this week. Probably best to have your team leader or your sales manager's engagement on this. You should probably check this ahead of time. Have them call me if they want to have a conversation, want to get into an argument about it. But this is what I want you to try for a week. I want you to focus on connecting with every other person that you're on the phone with. I want you to recognize and keep in mind that there is another human being that you're interacting with. And I want you to focus on interacting with that human being instead of just being focused on your script or the number of dials you've made this morning or the number of dials you've yet to make this afternoon. I'd rather see you make a connection at the expense of a sale right now than make a sale right now at the expense of making a connection that could last forever. So maybe that means that instead of 100, you only get 87 of them. What I'm going to tell you is that I am willing to bet that instead of making 10 connections out of those 100 that will ultimately lead to one or two sales, you're likely to make 20 connections out of those 85 that'll lead to 5 or 6 sales. Think about the fact that selling is a human-to-human business. People buy from people. What I can also tell you is that there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence and all of the new technology that's coming our way. It's very, very exciting. But a computer will be able to make more dials than you will ever be able to make. And they will be able to make them 24 hours a day, around the clock, in different time zones. And these chatbots that we're already seeing can interact with people. And they can do so much more effectively than you can, and ultimately at a lower cost. So what I'm telling you is that if you want to differentiate yourself, if you want to separate yourself from the inevitable AI apocalypse that is upon us, right? You need to do things that a computer can't do. And right now, and for the foreseeable future, that is to make a human-to-human connection with someone else who can buy what it is you're selling. Do not miss the connection at the expense of just trying to get your dials in so you can punch out and ace your quarterly review. What are you really here to do? Are you here to sell something, or are you here to fill out metrics so you can cash a paycheck at the end of the week? Think about that. While you're thinking about that, perhaps when you're done thinking about that, you subscribe to this podcast, or if you've already subscribed, share it with a friend. Give us a review. Or if you're really stuck with this, or if your sales manager gives you a lot of flack for this, get a hold of us. info@thewhyonthebuy.com. You can hit us up on Twitter. You can get us on LinkedIn. We're able to, but you can find us just about anywhere. But we'll talk through this with you. And I think this is worth a try. I also want to remind you that tomorrow is our March Book Club podcast recording. We are going to be talking about Building a Story Brand by Don Miller. It's a great book. I just finished it as I was on a recent road trip to meet with some clients, listen to the audio version. There's some really, really great stuff there. The interaction is going to be outstanding, as the first two have been. And just keep in mind, too, that when you know your whys, your hows and your whats get much better. I'm looking forward to talking to you again very soon.